Alex, it's great to see you again, and thanks for making the time to chat.
Of course. Yeah, man. It's good to see you. How's everything going?
It's going great. I know your
Good.
schedule is packed. Your latest film, Adulthood, is now playing in select theaters, and it arrives on digital September 23rd. It's a great film, but I must
Thank
say,
you.
you're also in New York, right? Right
Yeah,
now?
I am. Yeah, I'm doing a play. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a very exciting Broadway project, Waiting for Godot, reuniting you with Keanu Reeves. So, for those unfamiliar with it, like, how do you describe that?
The play, it's a very famous play from the 50s that has been revived pretty consistently ever since. It's about two very close, very old friends, but it's Samuel Beckett, and it's considered absurdist theater in that it's not like a very conventional plot. But it is a very beautiful, moving story that is at turns hilarious and very sad and very dramatic. So it takes a lot out of you. It's also very physical, but we're having a great time. Audiences are really engaging with it, and that's been fun. We've been up for a week in previews, and we open on Sunday.
That's
This
super
coming Sunday.
exciting. That's super
Yeah.
exciting. I need to make the trip up to watch that. I mean, come on, it's y'all two reunited. I gotta come to that. Jamie Lloyd, known for his bold, visionary reimagining of things. What's the
Yeah.
most surprising or challenging direction he gave you that unlocked something new with this play?
Well, I think there's so much, and Jamie works. The reason that we wanted to work with him is he's for all of his kind of modernist, visionary, conceptual approach to theater. He's also a very grounded director. He's really interested first and foremost in emotion and character, and we really wanted this play to be accessible as it's written, not making it more accessible than it's written. We're not dumbing it down at all. But the play as it's written is actually quite grounded considering how strange it is. So yes, Jamie has really done incredible things with the set and the sound, the lighting. He has an amazing team in all those areas, and that is quite bold and visionary. But at the end of the day, it's about a group of characters that are very human, and Jamie's very good at ferreting out all of that stuff. And that's the stuff that makes it really interesting to play, and I think makes it rewarding for audiences.
No, I love hearing that. So obviously, adulthood, it's fantastic. I watched it last night. I was like,
Thank you.
where are these movies? Like, where are these movies at? Like I need some of this. It's a wild mix of family drama, a crime thriller, a dark comedy. What drew you to this project?
Exactly what you just said. It had been a while since I'd made a narrative. I've been making a lot of documentaries. I wanted to make another narrative on my own terms. I wanted to make a small indie that I could control creatively. And I was asking myself the same question you just did, which is, where are these movies? Like, I know that movies are in trouble. I know it's very hard to get movies made. I know that there's a very small handful of true made for grown-up indies that aren't, and I love genre movies, so this is not to disparage them, but aren't genre. And what we get now at the movie theater is either like two or three sort of hybrid indies, and then mostly tent poles or genre movies. And I produce as well as direct, and so I have a pretty good feel for how to put a movie together and get it financed and all of that. Even in this climate, which is, I'm not saying it was easy, but I certainly knew what to do. And so I sought a very specific script. My producing partner Russell Hollander and I went after. Looking for a kind of a hard-boiled but comedic noir. That's what I was looking to do very specifically. I got to Michael Galvin's incredible script. I then developed it a bit further with Michael and kind of pulled out the themes I was most interested in. And we spent time working on it, and he came out while we were shooting and we worked on it. And I put this cast together, and we had a great time. It was very challenging. All movies are, but I'm just very happy with the film, and audiences are really loving it in screenings, which is making me really thrilled. So it's been a great experience. I'm really excited to get it out into the world, which is really our digital release on Tuesday, which is when the greater public will be able to access it.
I mean, it is also a great movie to watch at home, honestly. I think just grabbing your significant other or friends, it's a great evening watch. It's fantastic. And
Thank you.
it's got a killer cast. So, what was about the ensemble that excited you most? Because it's stacked.
Yeah, I was really interested in all of these actors. There are people that I've been wanting to work with, or people in Anthony Carrigan's case that I had worked with. Anthony was in Bill and Ted 3 with us. But I'm an actor and I love actor pieces, and this is an actor's ensemble piece. That's what it is. So, getting Josh Gad aboard, who I've been a huge fan of for so many years, who's just so immensely talented, and getting him into something where he could flex his drama chops as well as his very well-known comedy chops. And he's such a beautifully gifted dramatic actor. And I think he gets to do some really lovely work in this film. I've been a fan of Kaya going back to Skins and her Wuthering Heights, the Andrea Arnold adaptation. And she's just a ferociously talented actress, just staggeringly talented. And again, with her, on the flip side, I just hadn't seen her do comedy, but I knew from seeing the work she'd done in Skins that she had so much wit. And obviously The Gentleman since then, which is extremely witty, and she's just, she's a firecracker in that show. She's so good in it. But Billie Lourd, longtime fan, and it struck me forever with Billie that she was born to play a film noir femme fatale, like a vamp, like a bad egg in a noir. She's just got the eyes and the persona, and I so badly wanted someone who just felt like the classic noir villainess. And Anthony, I love so dearly, I would literally put him in every single thing I do ever. If I get the chance to do more, he will be in them. So Anthony's just a what can I do with Anthony, because he's like one of the greatest actors, I think, of our generation. And anything he's in, he just makes like 1,000 times better.
Oh man, you just stole my words. I was going to say the same thing. I adore Anthony, everything he's in. So please put in more stuff. There's something special about him. I can't explain what it is.
He has a real gift for sort of subtle, nuanced, emotional acting, but his physicality is just inspired. He just does things that are so surprising. His choices are so honest, but they're so surprising. And I think that's what makes great acting, frankly.
Yeah. You're just not behind the camera. You're also in the film, which at first I had to double take. Later on, I don't want to spoil anything, but I had to double take a couple times. What do you find most stepping into your own project?
I hate it. I don't know why I keep doing it to myself. After Freaked, I said I'm never going to do this ever again. It's just very, very hard. They're two very different disciplines. I remember when we were starting to put Bill and Ted 3 together, and there was some talk about me possibly directing it. I was like, you guys, over my dead body, am I going to try to play Bill and direct this thing? And I know that, that may sound highfalutin, like it's not like Bill is playing, Brando's role and On the Waterfront or anything, but it is hard and it takes thought and physicality and they're very different disciplines. To suddenly leap out from behind the camera and get into character and find my body and find my sort of who this guy is. I'm, really into prep and physicality and all this stuff. It's not that easy for me to just switch on and off like that. My hat is off to people like Kenneth Branagh who are so good at it. But I don't love it. I gave myself, I wanted to play something in the film. I wanted to play Doug. And I had very specific ideas about what Doug was, and I was a little concerned about handing that over to a different actor because it was very critical, without, as you said, spoiling the movie. It was very critical how he was played. It kind of would tip the balance for the film working or not in a very significant scene, as you know. So, but it was hard for me, I think, and hard for my actors. I would sort of walk away and Kaya and Josh would be like, where are you going? I was like, I got to go in order. They're like, but who's going to direct, So, I'm not sure I'll do that again, or if I do, the parts may just get smaller and smaller until they're just cameos. When I made Fever, the film I made in the late 90s, the indie with Henry Thomas, and Terry Hatcher, I literally did like a Hitchcock cameo coming out of a train. And I think that may be what I should be doing in these things.
I like that idea too, though. That's awesome. I would love that as well. You mentioned it, Freaked has always been a cult favorite, but this 4K restoration feels like a true event release. All the details I've seen about it is amazing. What does it mean to you to see this film get such a deluxe reintroduction?
I could not be happier. I mean, I will not say it wasn't without labor. I've been trying to pry this movie out of Disney for like years and years and years. And I finally got to people who were huge fans of the film there, who were incredibly supportive. I have to say the studio was amazing. And I was able to secure the rights that I needed. I went to my friends at Draft House Films and Giant, who I've done many projects with, and they released my last doc, YouTube Effect, and did an amazing job with it. I love them. And I have a long history with Tim League and the Alamo and all that, going back many, many years. But once we got together and started putting it together, we got Umbrella on board, and Umbrella are like, they're the best, right? I could not be more excited, and they're doing an incredible job. They're making a full book. They've interviewed a ton of people who were involved in making the movie. We did a full restoration going back to the internet, and then a full new color correct, all with the best of the best people doing it. So this is a whole different ballgame than anything that's ever happened with the film since its very small release back in the early 90s. And I could not be happier. And then at the same time, I've been working with Severin Films, who are just the best people. I love them so much. And they're re-releasing The Idiot Box. I got that out of Viacom. And they were also very supportive and very helpful. So I have, rights that I was able to secure out of Viacom, and they're re-releasing The Idiot Box. So around the same time, we're getting a Freaked and Idiot Box re-release of all the work that Tom Stern and I did with Tim Burns and everyone else back in the day that I'm so proud of. So I couldn't be more excited, to be honest with you. I'm really thrilled.
It is super exciting, and I'm just gonna put it out there. Maybe you can maybe tour with the film, and show it in
The
theaters.
problem is I'm doing this show, so we'll see. But we are going to put it out into some form of release, and Disney is working with us, and they're putting the film out into release. So keep an eye out on my social media and elsewhere, because there will be screenings, as well as obviously the 4K and the Blu-ray and all that.
No, that is awesome. What's something about making Freaked that fans might still not know even after all these years?
I think the thing that I tell people now is that for all of the kind of shenanigans we went through with the release of the movie, and working so hard on it for 3 years and it basically being shelved, it wasn't like a flop that got released and didn't do well. It wasn't released at all, so it was like put in one theater. It has. I'm just so grateful to the fans, because it is the fans, sort of like what happened with Bill and Ted 3. Like the film is alive because of fans, right? Just like we got Bill and Ted 3 made because fans wanted it, and that's what finally woke financiers up to giving us the money to go make the movie, which did incredibly well. And Freaked is very similar. People say, oh, are you kind of bitter or resentful about the way the film was treated? And I really can't be, because it is hardly dead. Like, we made the film for a very specific type of fan base. We have that fan base. It's grown and grown over the years. It was their demand and their appreciation for the film that got Disney and others to get behind supporting it and doing it. I mean, Umbrella wouldn't be... it cost a fortune to restore the movie and do this whole release. Nobody would have done it if they didn't think there was an audience for it, right? It was just like us saying, hey, we dig our movie and we'd love to have it out in this massive release. They were like, what? But it's because of the fans. So I think that the film was made for, in a punk rock style with a very specific attitude, and it has very gratefully stood the test of time and in some ways grown with more appreciation. It's funny to me now, because films will I'll do work and people will review it and be like, oh, well, this is nothing like Freaked or whatever. And I think, well, Freaked was panned by those critics hated Freaked, right? It's funny what time does to movies, how they grow. If they're, I make oddball films, and so they're often they'll polarize, or they'll find certain critics and alienate others or whatever, which I'm 100% fine with. And, but they grow, usually in appreciation over time. And then they're always like, oh, well, why couldn't it be more like this? I'm like, well, you hated that. You said that was the worst thing you'd ever seen. So it's funny to me.
Yeah, and there is a big fan base around that. I mean, everything you do, there's a specific fan base for it. One of them, I'm going to say, I'm a huge Ben 10 fan.
Oh, great. I love that. Yeah.
You've directed a couple of those projects. I actually have my I don't know if you've seen this box set here. If I can get it on camera, I don't know how I do it.
Yeah, you're going to get green screened out.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. It has the films in there and everything else. I loved it. I think it's a brilliant IP. From your perspective, though, what would it take to bring Ben 10 to the big screen in a way that really blows people away? And do you think there's a sweet spot for staying true to its kid-like, friendly roots and pushing it more for ambitious territory for a film audience?
I mean, sure. It's there was some talk about it back then. It would cost a lot of money to do it right, because it really lives and dies on. Obviously, you need a good Ben, but it lives or dies on the quality of the VFX, and because it's so much about the characters that he turns into. Look, I've raised three boys, so Ben 10 was huge in my house, and I love working with kids, and I've done a lot of kids stuff like TV shows, TV commercials, things like that I've directed over the years. I love working with kids. So, I'm really proud of the stuff I've done in the kids space. And I'm really proud of those movies. I think they're very sweet and sincere. And I think the VFX for we actually had good money for the effects, but they were challenging budgets. I think they're great. We had like really, really good people working on them, and they're very sweet, but I think that it would be so expensive. And I think sadly it comes down to really mundane things like consumer products. Like I think it would really need to make sense for I think it's Warner's IP, right? So right. It would have to make sense for Warner's to spend that kind of money and believe that the consumer products would merit it. And so many kind of almost bureaucratic things would have to work, But man, wouldn't it be amazing, to see a proper Ben 10 movie, like the whole essence of it is so beautiful. And to me, it always struck me as when I was a little kid playing in my backyard, we were all like Ben 10. And I grew up in the 70s, way before the show. But I just love the spirit of imagination in it. You don't ever quite know, is this stuff really happening? Or is it just Ben and Gwen just messing around? And I just like that quality. It taps into what childhood is,
Yeah, it's a very innocent show with great action and great storytelling and a lot of cool characters. Lastly, I want to talk about this. Fans always want to know, could there be more Bill and Ted? I'm sure you get that question all the time. So do you think there could be another movie? Could we go the animated route? Something completely unexpected? I would love to see the same treatment Back to the Future got with the musical.
Yeah, I mean, look, you never say never. I think that Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, who wrote it, I think they're always thinking about things. Maybe there's something that'll happen that won't be me and Keanu, like you said, or like a Broadway show or something like that. Or maybe there'll be another film. You never know. We're all close friends and we talk all the time. And we're not usually talking about Bill and Ted because we're friends, But I don't think the 5 of 6 of us really, we're like a squad now with Dean Pariseau, the director, and Scott Kroof, who's produced all of them and produced Adulthood, by the way, with me and Russell. We're always talking about it and kicking ideas around. And the guys had a really amazing idea for a 4th movie that really did seem worth doing. That is so obvious if people ever hear what it is, you're kind of amazed we didn't do it already. But I don't know if it'll happen or not. I really don't. I don't want to create a story that doesn't exist yet, because it's really just banter at this point.
No, of course. I just love that y'all still talk about it. But I think the musical, because I love Back to the Future musical. I thought it did justice to that franchise, and I feel like a musical could do the same thing for Bill and Ted and bring new fans in. But also, you're on Broadway too. You got this new film out. It's fantastic. It's always a pleasure, Alex, to catch up, and congrats on all these latest projects. You always keep it fresh and exciting, and I look forward to our next conversation soon.
Great. Thanks, Sean. It's great to see you again, man.